Maryland men's basketball did something it hadn't done in over a decade in another road victory. Women's basketball beats the buzzer and learns its path to the Big Ten tournament crown, while men's lacrosse takes down the top team in the country. All that and more coming up on this edition of The Left Bench.
That's the kind of poise you've got to be able to have.
Welcome back to The Left Bench, presented by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Matthew Neus here alongside Alexa Wootten. And Alexa, we have a jam-packed show today with a great guest, but why don't we start with Maryland men's basketball traveling to a place where it has had little success since its move to the Big Ten.
Yeah, Matt, the Terps have only won once since they joined the Big Ten Conference in 2014 at State College, and they picked up their second victory on Saturday. After a crushing loss to number 8 Michigan State on a half-court buzzer beater at the Xfinity Center, number 16 Maryland hit the road looking to get back on track with a Big Ten win. Penn State up 6 at the half. Ace Baldwin Jr. leads the way with 9 points. Maryland takes its first lead in the second half with a layup from Derek Queen. Queen finished with a game-high 23 points. Terps never led by more than 6, but Reese's huge defensive performance helps them maintain their lead. The senior grabs 15 boards, forces 6 steals, and blocks 3 shots. The Nittany Lions rally to bring the game within 1 with just about 2 minutes left. Then it's Rodney Rice, who was 1 of 10 on the game until he pulls up with 17 seconds, nails the jumper, and seals the win for the Terps, winning this one 68-64. Crab 5 once again combined for all 68 of their points.
Now that the calendar has flipped to March, that means it's time to direct most of our attention to March Madness.
We're happy to be joined by Ryan Hammer, a basketball content creator who follows men's college basketball from opening tip in November to national championship in April.
Ryan, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, I appreciate y'all for having me.
Now, Ryan, you were at the Michigan State game. The dagger that buzzer beater was. We've seen your video all over social media. From your point of view, how big was it for the Terps to turn around and come up with the win over Penn State on the road?
It was huge. I mean, y'all knew, everyone who felt in the building how much of just like a deflator it really was. I think I said it that night that the way they came out in the Penn State game, not really in the game in its entirety, really in the first 5 minutes, first half, was going to tell you a lot of how the rest of the season was going to go potentially in terms of, is it going to be a catapult to push them forward at the most pivotal point of the season, or is it going to be that deflator and kind of just ruin and tank the vibes a little bit? But I have mixed emotions about the Penn State game. They came out kind of slow, which I didn't like, but they got a result and they willed their way to victory. So.
Now, in that Penn State game, Derek Queen was one of the catalysts, 23 points, which was a team high. How do you see Queen progressing during his freshman year, and is there a chance that he sneaks into that top 10 picks of the NBA draft?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Willard said it, what he said exactly about if he was European and white, he'd be the #1 draft pick or something like that, which is, I don't fully disagree with, to be completely honest. I think Derek Queen should be considered for like a top 5 pick and should be a top 10 lock and definitely a lottery lock. I think he'll work his way there because his skill set and his upside and his ability is super, super unique. He's got an innate IQ to exploit mismatches and a way to play the game at his size and his position. He's been really great throughout the entire season from day one. He has been hot and cold, I'd say, and there are a lot of decision-making things that he'll have to work through, not only for the league, but for right now. Like Maryland wants to contend for a championship. They want to go to the Final Four and stuff. But overall, he's been awesome. He's an amazing young player.
Ryan, you're right. Queen has been such a spark for Maryland, and he's got 4 other starters alongside him that have really clicked for Maryland basketball. What do you think of this starting 5, both on the court and in their nickname, the Crab 5, and can they carry this team far in March?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Crab 5 nickname is unbelievable. It doesn't need to live up to the Fab 5. I think people say like, oh, like they don't deserve that name. Like the word Fab means like fabulous, awesome, but Crab is just the Crab 5, so it does, you know what I mean? But the Crab 5 is very good, best starting 5 maybe in the entire country, you could argue. I think people overthink the idea of no depth on this team because, one, they have a couple of guys that they get some minutes out of and some impact out of every now and then, but when come down to brass tacks in the tournament and in Big Ten tournament time, like you're gonna have to go to your five as long as no one's in foul trouble or injured, which is obviously impossible to project for. And they haven't really experienced that all year, but they can carry this team to the Final Four for sure.
Now, there's no time to rest for Maryland with a huge ranked matchup coming in the midweek away at Michigan. Win could be a huge boost for a double bye in the Big Ten tourney. What will be the keys for the Terps to capture a fifth Big Ten road win, and how can Reese and Queen compare to Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden?
Yeah, this is a one of one matchup that we haven't seen in this sport in the entire year. Like the thought of these are the two teams that have the biggest mismatch problem for opposition in the entire country. Those two bigs versus two bigs. I actually think the game is going to be won within the guards, which is why I like Maryland's backcourt much better, especially the starters at least. The Michigan guards have been very hot and cold. They're very turnover happy, and I think that is going to be the pivotal point of the game where Michigan is a very turnover happy team. They are reckless with the ball a lot. They're one of the highest turnover rates in the entire country, especially amongst ranked and actual good teams. And Maryland is the exact opposite. They do such a good job at taking care of the ball, and they do a great job on the defensive end at forcing turnovers and then turning them into points in transition on the offensive end, which I think is going to be where they win the game.
And now just looking down the line for Maryland, many of our viewers may not know, but you have the trapezoid of excellence, one of your metrics that measures success, and good for those Terps fans because Maryland falls in it. Can you explain what it is and what that exactly means for the Terps?
Yeah, the simple way to explain it, the trapezoid excellence is something that it measures pace of play by your overall performance and net rating, and it basically uses historical champions and teams that have succeeded in March in recent 5 years to be able to project who's going to have the best chance at winning this year. It's been working for the last few years so far. So Maryland being in there, one of the I think 8 to 10 teams in there right now or something like that is obviously a good sign.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, Ryan. Thanks so much for taking the time.
For sure. Appreciate you guys having me.
You can stay up to date with all of Ryan's coverage leading up to the big dance on X at RyanHammer09 and TikTok and YouTube at RyanHammer9.
Number 1 versus number 2, a rematch of last season's national championship. Maryland men's lacrosse met Notre Dame in Atlanta for a big-time non-conference matchup. And like it's been all season long, the Terps defense led the way in the biggest win of the year. We'll jump right into this one, and it's Notre Dame early. The Irish quickly lead 3-1 on this Jordan Faison, yes, the wide receiver, tally. But the Terps answer with goals from Eric Spanos and Daniel Kelly. Notre Dame leads 5-4 at halftime. But Maryland's defense takes over. The Terps' long poles become stout. Defenseman Will Schaller puts his body on the line to protect the cage. They concede once in the third quarter and lead 8-6 after 3. Chris Kavanaugh finds the net 3 times in the fourth, including this diving goal, but Kelly scores once again, this time with Maryland a man down to restore 2-goal Terps' lead. Kavanaugh has one last chance to tie on the doorstep, but Logan McNaney says no with his 16th save of the day. Schaller wins the race to the sideline, and the Terps leave Georgia with an 11-10 win over the number 1 team in the country.
Coming fresh off a win at Indiana, Maryland women's basketball regular season closer was nothing short of a thriller, with an overtime game winner from Sarah Tibiasu. Maryland takes the lead in the first few minutes of regulation, with Sellers going 2 for 4 from 3 and Amari DeBerry contributing 6 points off the bench. The Buckeyes responded with its first lead of the game in the second quarter. They lead by 1 at the break. Sellers briefly leaves the game with an injury in the third, but returns shortly after. The clock is winding down, and this one is going back and forth. But we're going to overtime. We'll come down to the final few seconds. Sarah Tibiasu with the ball gets down court, launches a floater from 3 to call game with 1 second left on the clock. Terps win 93-90 in the overtime takedown of the Buckeyes, making this their 5th win over a ranked opponent this season.
It was an important game for our confidence to know that we can go into overtime and we can be shorthanded, we can be in foul trouble and be able to pull out a game like this. I thought our resiliency was really good. Even when they took the lead, we didn't seem rattled. So that's the kind of poise you've got to be able to have, especially from a veteran-led team, here in March.
The month of February is a full one at that, and there's plenty more winter and spring sports to follow.
That's right, we'll look at the best from February and more when we come back.
Welcome back to the Left Bench, brought to you by Terraport Sports Central. That's Alexa Wootten, I'm Matthew Neus, and Maryland baseball almost put together the perfect weekend in Winston-Salem.
A packed weekend for baseball in Winston-Salem, 2 wins over Princeton, but the big story, a ranked win over number 12 Wake Forest. Head coach Matt Swope's first ranked win. Derps quickly jump out to a 4-0 lead in the top of the first. Aiden Hill records a second RBI double, extending the lead to 5-0. The Deacons respond with 6 runs in the bottom of the third. Hollis Porter hits a solo homer to tie things at 6 runs apiece. Wake Forest extends its lead to 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th. After Maryland ties the game, Jacob Orr hits an RBI single, the go-ahead run. Andrew Johnson rounds it out, recording the final 3 outs. Maryland wins it 9-8. Terps fall the next day to the Deacons, 9-1, but leave Winston-Salem with a ranked W.
Maryland Gymnastics had one of its best weekends, and it was a preview for what's to come in the Big Ten Championships. The Gym Terps hosted Michigan, Minnesota, and Illinois in the Big Four meet, all 3 coming in ranked within the top 25. We'll start on vault, where Maryland scores a team season high 49.250, with individual season highs from Raina Engelmeyer, Alexa Rothenbuescher, and Taylor Reck. On to bars, and 4 Gym Terps will record new season highs as well, including senior Tasha Brzezowski, who had been filling in for Sierra Kondo. Brzezowski's season high 9.85 would help contribute to the Terps' new season high 49.275 score on bars. Maryland would place 4th on beam, but freshman Lauren Brenlinger scores a career-high 9.850 on floor, followed by Ray LeBlanc's 9.875 performance to cap off the meet. Maryland would place 3rd overall with a total score of 196.125.
About after beam, let's get going forward again. You know, when the scores are tight, you start to get on defense and you start to be cautious. I said I wanted them to be aggressive on floor. More aggressive, not cautious. Let's go out and finish this night to the best of our ability.
Back to some lacrosse, and how about another win? This one for Maryland women's lacrosse, who took down Denver on Saturday. Jordan Lipkin got things going for the Terps early. She recorded 2 goals on the day. But just 13 seconds later, Denver responds with the next goal from Caroline Collymore. Maryland up 3 after the first quarter. But in the second, the Pioneers start to crack a comeback. And it was Denver who would lead at the break. But the Terps come out of the half firing on all cylinders, with 7 goals in the third quarter. Terps never looked back and cruised to a 14-10 win. Here's what head coach Kathy Reese had to say about her squad.
This was a great game for us to go in the locker room and halftime down and find a way to fight back, right? And so in the locker room, that's what we talked about, is like, we're like a deer in headlights. Let's step up. This is our game, it's our field. We know what we're doing. Let's stick to the game plan, and we did that in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
After a slow second quarter where the Terps got shut out offensively, Maryland women's lacrosse needed a reset. The Terps went on to score 7 third-quarter goals, a trend we have seen now for 2 straight weeks. TSC's Luke Tobacco has more on Maryland's potent third period.
Maryland women's lacrosse has been dominant coming out of the halftime break in these previous 2 weeks of play.
Really proud of how our team reset at halftime, because that could have gone a totally different way. If we came out in the 3rd quarter and played the way we did in the 2nd against a really good team like Denver, we would have put ourselves in a really tough spot.
In today's 14-10 victory against Denver, Maryland came out of halftime with a subtle 6-5 deficit. The Maryland offense just couldn't get things going in the 2nd quarter, as Denver would shut them out. Maryland head coach Kathy Reese gave the team an emotional halftime speech that really got the team going.
So in the locker room, that's what we talked about, is like, we're like a deer in headlights. Let's step up. This is our game, it's our field. We know what we're doing. Let's stick to the game plan, and we did that in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
The Lady Terps came out of the half with an explosive offensive performance, making that now 2 straight games. Maryland has scored 7 goals in the 3rd quarter.
In that 3rd quarter, Maryland was able to fire off 11 shots on goal. Denver, on the other hand, was only able to shoot 2. The Terps also had control of the ball to start possessions. They were 7 for 8 in draws in that 3rd quarter as well. Maryland this past weekend took on St. Joseph's at home, where they also would come out of the half and score 7 third-quarter goals, a familiar sight. Today, when asked about what Coach Reese said during the halftime speech, Corey Edmondson made it clear that she was fired up and ready to go.
It was definitely fire. It had a lot of motion to it, and it pumped me up just to get my head out of my rear end. Like, I feel like the best way to put it. But, like, I was just so focused on myself and the mistakes that I made, and I was dwelling on them. So her, like, she always has great speeches, so just being able to listen to that and then no, it's 0-0, start a new half.
For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Luke Tobacco.
Thanks, Luke. Now, Alexa, I want to know what Kathy Reese said at halftime. It was like it was like a car battery. They just got to jump. You know, when you needed to jump, that's what it felt like in that third quarter. Came out 7 goals in that third.
Yeah, I think you have to contribute it to the draw circle. Maryland dominated in that third quarter. They took back the draw contest, and that allowed them to get possession and therefore get those goals.
Yeah, it was a big part of it, but 7 goals, it's a lot. Hopefully that continues.
Great offensive production from the Terps there.
For sure. Now, it's March, and that means madness. And here in College Park, we already got a little taste of the madness.
TST's Eddie Calkins is in Studio B with a look at last week's half-court buzzer beater from Michigan State's Trey Holloman.
Eddie, that was a pretty crazy ending.
Oh my goodness, yes, what a crazy shot. Maryland men's basketball with the heartbreaker at the buzzer. And I've personally never seen an arena go so silent so quickly. It was absolutely unbelievable. My mouth was wide open. I heard there's a picture of you, Matt, with just unbelievable shock on your face. Now, Michigan State and Maryland tipped off last Wednesday night in one of the best, if not the best, environments of the Kevin Willard era. It was neck and neck all game until a 6'2" guard from Minnesota chucked up a prayer and took over social media.
Gillespie for 3. Call or no. Holloman looks the clock. Half court for the win. Oh my goodness. Holloman from half court to win it on the road. Can Maryland walk it off? Gillespie, his 3. Short. 2 seconds. 1 second. The half court eve. Oh! Michigan State wins it. He missed. Rebound. Holloman, he tries. Oh, he makes it. He makes it. There's a count. Oh!
Now, Trey Holloman only averages about 8 points a game, but those 3 points are ones he'll remember for the rest of his life. His head coach, Tom Izzo, said post-game the shot was lucky, but the win was not. And Izzo has a good point. The Spartans led for a majority of the game and grabbed more rebounds and assists than the Terps. But the reality is, that shot right there, pure luck. And how lucky, you may ask? Well, let's take a look right here. So we have the shot. Holloman shoots it, right? So there's 0.9 seconds on the clock. He's a little bit past half court. There he is right there. And it really was an impressive shot. About half court is 47 feet. If we can go to the next graphic here. So 47 feet. I estimated that it's about 54 feet of where he took that shot. As you can see right here, 54 feet. That's a little generous, about 7 more feet. There's the ball in the air. We're already at zeros. It's not even halfway. It's probably at the top of its arc right now. And if we can go to the next graphic here. So there it is. It's in the basket. There's Tom Izzo down here. He's like, yeah. It already happened. The shot already went in. He already knew it was going to go in, as he said. It took about 1 second, 48 milliseconds. That's about 1.8 seconds. That's about 20.45 miles per hour, about 30 feet per second. Now, to put that in context, the average shot for basketball, college, and NBA is about 15 to 20 feet per second, so about double of that. An interesting note, in 1985, Bruce Morris from Marshall hit the unofficial longest shot in NCAA history. That was about 84 feet. So not quite for Trey Holloman, but an absolutely lucky shot, a beautiful shot, as I might say. You can see right here, a complete swoosh hit the right back of that iron. So it wasn't even close, didn't even bank it off. Just an absolute fantastic shot. But does any of this really matter? Probably not. But in March, prayers get answered and lucky shots go in. Now for Maryland, they may need that luck in March. Kevin Willard's team is 4-6 this season in games decided by 5 points or less, and 3-3 in games decided by 3 points. Now, all 3 of those losses are buzzer beaters. Nick Martinelli, Northwestern, I think we can all remember that one. You'll remember in Columbus, Bruce Thornton hit that game winner, and then, of course, we had Michigan State, Trey Holloman. So I'll put it like this. In the words of Charles Barkley, good teams get lucky. And so far, the Terps haven't been the luckiest. 3 losses by those 3 points. That will likely need to change this March for a long postseason run. But I keep talking about March. That shot was technically in February, and it was just one of the many great plays around Maryland athletics in the month of February. Here at Terrapin Sports Central, we covered 19 games alone. It's just the nature of crossover season where winter sports head into the postseason and spring sports begin. So here's the best of February. Enjoy.
A Super Bowl? I mean, what
Jesus. No one's got a party to go to? No one's got... Go ahead.
Welcome back to the Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Center. I'm Ricky Podgorski. That's Alex Gary. Alex, it is 2025.
Offense was humming. Defense was great. Obviously, you had McNanny back there. He did his thing. Defense was tenacious with the pressure throughout.
5 players reaching double figures in an emphatic 76-68 victory.
It's something that both Julian Reese and Derek Queen have done this season with their size and physicality. Now, let's be real for a second. Not all of us are made of Reese's 6'9" frame or Queen's 6'10" freshman build.
It's our number one play. Real LeBlanc, career high 985 on vault. 98.5 is what this should have gone, because this was a ridiculous play.
Who's up for this one? Is this more of because you've only put thumbs down?
That's a good point. Maybe.
As an appetizer before the big game, Maryland and Rutgers brought 3 of the country's top freshmen to College Park.
He said after the game that this game against his former friends, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, has been circled on his calendar for a long time.
600 wins in college athletics is a huge milestone for a program, but for a single coach, that is legendary.
Maddie is in the zone on beam. She's a work of art.
Yeah, guys, Maryland women's basketball played Michigan yesterday, looking to snap out of a 3-game home losing streak. And the Terps delivered.
Dirty Terps catcher Alex Calarco. Calarco hit 3 home runs, including a grand slam in the Terps opening weekend.
And those possessions really added up. I just felt like we got the ball a bunch more in the third quarter, and then I think we just got a lot more comfort.
Paul Jones drives this one deep to right center field for Maryland's 2nd grand slam of the day. Terps win 35-12, setting a program record for runs scored and hits in a single game.
You know, I see this season as something new. We've obviously done some different things this offseason, and I think it's kind of shown in our team and, you know, my performance this season.
As the number 9 Maryland Terrapins scored 18, beating St. Joseph's 18-7.
She can dance really well. I don't know if you guys seen her floor routine, but like she would kill Dancing with the Stars. And I'd be there like, Dex, yeah, go Maddie.
I could definitely see that. And his potential game winner comes up short. The ball winds up in the hands of Holloman, who throws up a prayer, and it's answered. Sparty wins it at the buzzer, silencing Xfinity Center.
And after that, I can't imagine what March will bring. There were so many good plays. So Alexa, Matt, I just did a whole segment on the Trey Holloman shot. I'll take that as my favorite moment. But what about your guys' favorite moment from February?
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. I know that Trey Holloman shot was unreal. I was in the arena. It was a great shot. I think for me, I'm going to go to women's basketball. I'm going to go Cheyenne Sellers last week at Indiana. 3 threes in the fourth quarter, put Indiana to bed. Big time performance from the senior, and I think that's my favorite moment. She just went off.
She was electric that night. That was incredible. But I think I'm going to have to go women's lacrosse. I'm going to go Maryland opponent, Emma Ward, the no-look behind the back shot. I mean, it was a rocket to the back of the net.
Yeah, I remember that game. Syracuse took the win in that one, but Emma Ward was unreal. She was unreal last year, unreal this year, and I mean, just that shot alone just shows you how good she is at the sport.
I mean, I can't get over how good of a shot it was. Emma Ward, phenomenal lacrosse player.
For sure. Maryland softball split Friday's doubleheader against Belmont in Nashville, taking Game 2 8-0. In Saturday's rubber match, the Terps fell to the Bruins 9-1 and dropped to 6-10 on the season. The Terps' lone run came in the 4th inning when Sam Beam knocked an RBI base hit to center, but Maryland gave up 5 runs in the bottom half of the inning in the loss. The Terps host St. Joseph's tonight in their home opener.
Maryland tennis, another team to bounce back after a hard loss. After losing 4-0 to Old Dominion, the Terps defeated Norfolk 4-0. Dia Chawla and Danielle Hack opened the match with a 6-0 sweep in the number 2 doubles match. Callista Liu and Ima Kovacevic followed that up with a 6-4 win in the number 1 doubles match, grabbing the doubles points for the Terps. Maryland clinches the win after sweeping the number 4 singles match and winning the number 1 and number 3 singles matches.
Now stay with us, because when we come back, we'll hop on over to Studio B to play a new game.
And we'll also crown our Terp of the Week and reveal our top 5 plays. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to the Left Bench presented by Terrapin Sports Central.
We've got plenty of awards to hand out, but before we do, in honor of having Ryan Hammer on the show, we decided to turn his Trapezoid of Excellence into a fun game.
Let's do it. So, like Ryan mentioned, the Trapezoid of Excellence measures a college basketball team's pace of play and their net rating. Teams that fall within the Trapezoid have a pretty darn good track record in the NCAA tournament and even winning the title.
So our producers printed out some logos of some men's college basketball teams across the country that are within the Trapezoid. It's going to be Matt and I's job to place them within the Zoid and see if we get things right. All right, let's get right into it.
Let's get started with the first team.
So I'll take the first one. The first one is going to be Auburn.
Okay, so what do we think? Do they play fast or not? I think they're kind of moderate, but I think their net is really high because they play good teams in the SEC and they win a lot of good games. So I think
let's put them a little bit middle.
A lot up top.
Right,
I think they play a little bit faster.
You want to put a little right here maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, we could put it right there.
Okay, right there is where we're going to put it.
Okay. So next
All right,
up,
next team.
we got Houston.
Houston.
Another really good team from the Big 12, but I think they play a little bit slower
They are
than
slower,
Auburn.
I do agree
But I
with
still think
that.
they're up top in this region just because of how good they are.
I think I would put them just like
maybe-
right about here.
I think maybe go.
You think a little higher?
Well, I just think because their net is really
Sorry,
high.
got
I
stuck
think,
on the TV there for a
I think
second.
we
We're
gotta
going to put it right there.
yeah.
Okay, that one's good. All right, we're going to take the next one.
All right.
All right,
And
Maryland,
we
the
got
home
Terps.
team.
All right, so here's the thing. I think the difference between these two and Maryland is their net is going to be a little bit lower.
I would agree with that, yes.
But I do think Maryland, the Crop 5, plays
a little quick
at a big, fast pace.
Yeah.
Definitely faster than Auburn.
Mhm.
So I think they're a little bit lower than these two. But
If
I
it
would
was
say
me,
more
I
to
would
the
put them
right.
like right here, like right about this area.
Maybe a little bit
A
lower.
little lower, you think?
I think right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say right there.
Because okay,
Okay, so we're gonna stick it there. Okay.
I like that. I like
All
that.
right,
I like
next
that.
team up.
All right, so
It's
now
gonna
we're
come
gonna
from
go.
Matt's way.
All right,
All right,
so
which
we're
one
gonna
up
go
now?
Gonzaga, the Zags, out west. So
Okay.
I mean, out west, they don't have a lot of opportunities for a lot of good wins. So I feel like
Yeah,
the
Carmen's
net's
a
going to
little
be
different.
a little bit lower. But the thing is pace of play. What do you think?
I think they're pretty. I think they're pretty fast. No,
I think they're a little bit slower
I
than
feel like
some.
not halfway. I would put
Where
them
do
a
you
little
think
faster.
they're more Houston or more Auburn?
I would put
slower
more
than
near
them?
Auburn.
More Auburn,
but I would say maybe
definitely low.
right there, like a
I would,
little
I would
over.
go right there. I would go there.
Okay.
I like that.
Let's
okay.
do that. Yeah, I like where that's at. All right,
right.
next one.
So
Coming
the
at
Johnnies,
us.
the Johnnies out of the Big East. So a lot of good wins. I think they play at pace.
I think so too. I think,
I
they're a
think
pretty
we got to
fast
put
team.
them up on like kind of Auburn level,
Mhm.
but more towards Maryland where they play faster
All right.
than these teams
Do
over
we
here.
want to put them maybe?
Maybe. I
Like
think right there is
I
good.
think
Yeah,
that's a good
not all the
area.
way up top.
Not
but
all the way, but pretty
All
high
right.
up there.
I think
pretty
we're
quick
doing good
team.
so far.
I like
I
this
mean-
right now. This is where we're standing.
I like this.
All right, let's see the
All right.
next team up.
We're gonna go Mizzou, another SEC team.
They're pretty fast.
We know. I think we've established all these teams are good.
Mhm.
SEC, probably the best conferences in the country.
Mhm.
They're gonna have a high net. Do you think they're fast? I think they play fast. I think basically every SEC team kind of plays fast. for
Definitely
what
like
it's
to
worth.
run the ball. I don't know if I'm going to go as high as Auburn, but maybe a little lower. You think?
So you want to go like kind of like on Auburn's like pace level, but
yeah,
not as high.
but maybe slightly faster.
like right here?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
All right, let's see what our next team is. It's going to come Matt's way.
All right, and we're gonna go back out west. We're gonna go Arizona, the Wildcats.
All right, where do you want to put them right now? Let's start
I
with you.
think the net's gonna be lower
Mhm.
because Big 12, not that many opportunities. Still a good
Mhm.
conference, not that many opportunities to win. So I think it's gonna be a little bit lower, probably on this bottom line.
Mhm.
And I think they play fast. I think
Mhm.
they're one of the fastest teams.
Yeah, I think we can definitely put them in this area
I think
where
they're definitely
Maryland is.
over in this area. Do we think they're like? Do you think they're on Maryland's level? Do you think like right in between?
I think
St.
maybe
John's?
in between. I don't think they play as fast as Maryland.
I agree. So if you
All
want
right,
to put
so
it,
we want to put it
like,
right
in there.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, so far this is what we have for the Trapezoid. We're gonna see what our next team is. We're gonna see St. Mary.
We're gonna go
Make sure
stay
you get a
out
good
west.
look at that. Okay.
All right, so I think we're kind of like Gonzaga, where not a lot of opportunities for
Mhm. So
quality
definitely
wins.
lower
definitely
net
low.
ranking.
I think they play fast too.
Mhm.
I think they're kind of like Arizona and Maryland. I think they're all
Jonah,
in that
just-
quadrant.
I think there's a lot of teams right now that are right in this.
I think we kind of
Yeah.
just have to overlap.
Maybe right there, or do you
Yeah.
want to go a little higher?
No, I think
they'd be
on
a
the
little
line.
lower
I think
than
on the
Arizona,
line. Yeah.
All right, let's put them right there. All right, next team
And then
coming
we're going
Matt's way.
SEC,
Florida.
Florida Gators.
Let's see where they
chomp,
stand.
chomp. Again, SEC.
Yeah.
A lot of good wins. I think they're high up on the
I would agree with that.
on
yeah.
the net. Pace of play. I think I think they're kind of in the middle.
I would say pretty moderate. I don't think they swing either way.
I think they're going to be further over than Auburn.
I would agree with
But
that,
they're
yeah.
not going to be as far as St. John's and St. Mary's where we put them.
Do we want to go middle ground?
Kind of like middle right here? Or do you think more over?
I honestly, I'll go there. Let's
There?
let's go there.
All right. I don't mind that.
All right, let's see. Got another team coming this one. Matt's way
I'm gonna
again.
go Tennessee, the Vols.
SEC teams. I mean, like you
they're
said, one
all
of the
up
best
there.
conferences.
Yeah, it is the best. I think, in my opinion, it is the best. It is the best. So I think again, they're going to be high up
net
on
ranking.
Just what do we think pace of play wise?
I
think they kind of go slower.
I was gonna say, I
From
think they're
the- from
moderate, but on the slower side.
From the limited Tennessee games I've watched this year, they haven't played that fast, from what I remember. So I think.
I'd be
Do
good
we
to put
like
them-
in between Houston and Gonzaga, but a little
Yeah.
high?
I
Or
would
do we put them in between Gonzaga and Missouri?
I'm thinking maybe right
Right
here,
here?
just like right off
Right here?
Gonzaga. Yeah, I would say higher though, obviously SEC. I think right there is a good place to go. All right, and we're gonna go from Ricky's side. Let me get that. Texas Tech up
Red
next.
Raiders. So I think the Nets going to be a little bit lower, Big 12, but I think they play fast. I think we're going to be in this cluster of teams.
I think it's just, I would put it like right here. Just
I
right
think
with everyone.
all
You want to
these
do a little more?
I think all these teams are grouped together.
Mhm.
I think they're all clustered together.
Yeah.
So I think they're all going to be together. I think we just put it right
Okay,
here,
we're gonna put it in
kind
this
of like
cluster.
on this
Don't want
line.
to cover anyone, but this cluster going to be a heavy area for a lot of teams
For sure.
heading into March. And I
For
mean,
sure.
we're already here, so a lot of great basketball is just getting underway.
I can't wait. Best time of the year. So excited. Maryland fans, I hate to show this, but it's Duke, Blue Devils, but Cooper Flag, one of the best players in the
Phenomenal.
country.
I mean, #1 recruit coming into college.
One of the best teams in the country. Definitely high up on the net.
Yeah,
I think
slower pace.
I think they're kind of moderate. I think they're kind of right in that middle ground.
I would say right
I think
around that
we're, like-
Tennessee Auburn area.
I think we're in the Auburn area. The question is, do we put them? What side of Auburn do we put them on? Left or right?
I think they're gonna go
You see, 'cause I
to
think
the right of Auburn.
I think.
Oh,
like,
you would. Wait, I'm sorry. I mixed up my left and right. You want to put them here?
I would put them between Auburn and Florida.
Okay, I'll go
but
with you
I
on
put
that.
them up on the line, like all
Definitely
the way
high.
up
Definitely
where
high.
Auburn is.
Yeah, net high,
Okay.
slower pace, but I'm good with that.
So we're gonna put them up here.
Yeah, let's put it there.
All right. I don't want to cover that's Florida, Duke,
All right, so I
Mizzou,
think
and Auburn.
we're all set. Last
And
one, or
last
last
one.
team, and it's gonna be Iowa State.
Cyclones. Again,
I think they play pretty fast.
I agree with you.
I would say a lower net ranking though.
I would also agree.
So honestly, I see them right here with this whole slew of teams just in this bottom corner of the trapezoid. Do we want to put them maybe right here under Texas Tech?
Yeah, I was either going to go right beside Texas Tech under Florida or in between
We
Florida
can
and
do
St.
that.
John's,
That
but
way
I
we
think
don't-
they're going to be lower.
Okay.
So I think,
You want to go right there maybe?
Yeah, I like
okay.
that, I like that.
Right on that line.
for sure.
All right, so that's going to be it. That's going to be our trapezoid of excellence.
Let's see how we did.
We're going to see how we did.
All right, so we got Houston. So Houston's over here.
Okay.
So
Pretty good. I don't think it's going to come off. I think you just
We're
got to
gonna
leave
keep
it.
it? We're gonna keep
Houston,
it?
we're a little over. Oh,
So
okay.
we're gonna
take it off.
I'm going to try to take this off.
Yep.
Got it.
Houston's
okay.
going to be right
So
there.
Houston's right there. Tennessee, we got
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tennessee, just a little off. Okay, you know what? I was right about Duke. I should have stuck with my
I
gut.
know, that was on me. That was on me.
But Duke's actually going to be over here. We're going to take this one off because that one we're going to move over.
I don't want to say it, but we did get one really wrong. We got on the bottom, but the Gale, St. Mary's, we just got them on the wrong side.
Got them on the wrong side. Right net. Okay, so St. Mary's is going to come off.
I would say Texas Tech, we got,
It's a little hard. The team's a little strong.
I'd say Texas Tech, we got kind
They're
of
gonna
right.
be
Texas Tech
over.
snuck in right here.
So they're going to come off.
And then Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga is going to be, it's going to be hidden by that cluster. Because
Yeah,
I
we're
don't,
going to see.
I don't,
All right, Iowa State, we're going to see where they sit.
I think they're all in that
I
cluster.
think they're right under here. We're going to see.
See if there's any teams I know.
Mizzou, we're going to have over
Mizzou's
here.
right there. And then I see Auburn.
Just
Auburn
they're
was
way faster than
way
I think we
faster than we thought.
anticipated.
Question is, where is Florida on this?
Florida, I think, is going to be right behind this Maryland M we have. So Florida,
would agree.
very similar to Maryland, actually. Sorry, guys, Dave's a little strong. And then Maryland, we're going to take off. I think we got Maryland right,
we did,
and
but
we
got
did.
them
It's
right
right
on
there.
the nose. Look at that.
Gonzaga, though, is going to be right with Maryland and Florida. So
Yeah.
definitely a faster pace. Didn't get them all right, but you know, great effort. Trapezoid of excellence. Something you're going to want to watch out for with Ryan Hammer as March Madness is just underway, and he's proven to have some successful picks within this trapezoid of excellence.
For sure, like he said, you know, if you're in that trapezoid, good things come in March. Maryland was in that trapezoid, that's all I'm going to say.
All right, and it's going to be time for our Terp of the Week. A lot of talk so far of Maryland men's basketball, but it's not the only team finding its stride just about the right time. This week's Terp of the Week has to go to senior leader from Maryland women's basketball, Cheyenne Sellers. Terps had a huge win over Indiana on the road, and Sellers was a big part of that. The shooting guard led with 25 points, 21 of those coming in the fourth quarter alone. In their OT victory over the Ohio State Buckeyes, Sellers scored 21 points and made the fadeaway jumper that eventually was the tying basket to send the game to overtime. Congrats to Cheyenne Sellers on being our Terp of the Week.
Now for this week's Pro Terp, we'll take a journey across the pond to Germany, to the city of Bielefeld. This week's Pro Terp is Michiel Krabos of German football club Arminia Bielefeld. Krabos appeared for Maryland men's soccer in 2014 and 2015 and starred in the midfield. After his time at Ludwig, he played professionally in the U.S. before landing in Europe. He captains Arminia Bielefeld in the 3 Liga, the third tier of the German soccer pyramid. His side progressed into the semifinals of the DFB Pokal, or the German Cup, a major tournament in the country. Arminia Bielefeld defeated 3 top-flight teams already and will face another in the next round, last year's Bundesliga champions Bayer Leverkusen. Congrats to Michiel on being named this week's Pro Terp. All right, we're at the end of the show. Top 5 plays. Alexa, you want to get started?
Yep, let's get it going. Number 5, there's no stopping DQ when he comes down the lane. Derek Queen gets in the paint and slams this one home for the Terps.
Big play by DQ. At number 4, we're going to go to the diamond. Ryan Van Buren with the hops and flashing the leather with a big jump, making the play in the flip, getting a big out for Maryland in an eventual comeback win at Wake Forest.
Now, number 3 is going to be a defensive play you will not believe. Logan McNaney loses the ball. Notre Dame shot. Will Scheller diving for the deflection. I mean, he lays it out to make that defensive stop and save.
Looks like Will Superman the way he dove there. At number 2, Logan McNaney denies Chris Kavanaugh on the doorstep. A kick save and a beaut from Maryland lacrosse is number 1, putting, you know, he's the number 1 for a reason.
And number 1, what else than Sarah Tibiasu calls game in overtime. Gets down court, lets the shot go off balance. She nails it. The Xfinity Center erupted after this. I mean, that was an incredible play, Matt.
It was insane. And I know we were both at the Xfinity Center. I couldn't believe she made it. I mean, just the way it floated, it kind of looked like Wednesday, not going to lie. But I mean, it was good for Maryland this time. I mean, what a shot from the grad student.
Completely incredible.
Now I'll do it for the first March edition of The Left Bench. Make sure to tune right back in on Thursday as Brendan Weissel and Daniel Stein will have you covered with everything Maryland women's basketball on The Left Bench in focus.
You can keep up with all of Terrapin Sports Central's coverage by subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on X, Instagram, and visiting our website at terrapinsportscentral.com.
We'll see you next time.